welcome to another update on the Revell 68 Dodge Hemi Dart that I'm building as a replica to Larry Griffith, the super stock driver from the 60s and 70s. I want to go over what I've accomplished so far, and I'm pretty much done with everything except for the very final assembly. The only thing I have left to do is to dress up the engine bay. I still have to paint the fender wells on the car. Will be gloss black, and the firewall, which will be gloss black. I've got all the components for the engine bay painted. They will all be, and they are all, I shouldn't say will be, they are all ceramic coat black, mixed 50-50 with the washer fluid, and just a touch of the satin polyurethane in with the paint, and then sealed with a final coating of the ceramic coat satin polyurethane. So that's pretty much it. And I've really, I just got going and started putting things together, and everything fell into place. And so I really didn't stop and do any updates. So I'm pretty much ready to put everything together, other than some of the final small things into the body, along the body, and into the engine bay. Drew a blank there. I'll show you what I've got, and it's not much to it really. I mean, it's pretty much, stock stuff. But I wanted to be as true to the car as I could be, and I went. I don't have a lot of reference pics. I don't have but maybe 2 of the car, or 3 of the car when it was actually being raced in the 60s. I have several pics of the car in its restored state. But many times people that restore these cars don't put them back to the actual way they looked back in the day, and they're more museum pieces and pieces for people's car collection for people to come look at. So, but I just tried to use my imagination as much as I could, and wherever I thought, well, this shouldn't be shiny, it should be flat, and this shouldn't look like that. If it was a race car, I just I did the best I could, and with what I had to go with, and between that and the pictures, I think it come out okay. We'll start with the motor. The engine block, heads, intake, engine front, timing cover, all that is Chevy engine red. I started to say that. Is Hemi orange. The tester's Hemi orange lacquer. Everything else is ceramic coat products of one form or another. The transmission, I'll take this out, is Vallejo, apology. The transmission is Vallejo gunmetal mixed with silver. And then I took some just dollar store eyeshadow and took some silver and grays and kind of painted over it, or dusted over it, I should say, and then took some black wash and kind of went in and raised up where the raised areas were, and just to pick those details out, bolt heads, what have you. The carburetors are Delta Ceramic Coat gold and silver mixed with a touch of peridot green. Peridot, and it's kind of a metallic green, and it kind of gives it the zinc chromide look to it. Everything else is pretty much either the ceramic coat silvers and grays. I ran the fuel lines as closely as I could to how he had his ran. These are just diodes, and I painted those. Just silver because those were black glass, and his were silver. The fuel block is just a small piece of square stock styrene stop, drilled, and man, those things are a killer to try to keep in scale. This one is a little bit big out, a little bit on the large side for scale, but I mean that's the best I could do with my eyes and trying to drill a hole in it and all that. So the plug wire, I went with, he had red plug wires, so I went with the red plug wires. Underneath, it's pretty simple stuff. Ceramic coat black with mixed 50-50 with washer fluid, and a little bit of the ceramic coat polyurethane mixed in with the paint, and then sealed in with one coat of pure uncut ceramic coat polyurethane, satin polyurethane. Then I went over some of the raised edges on the frame and the suspension with some of the silver and grays eyeshadow from the dollar store. And the reason I actually have some pastels, but I think that the eyeshadow works better because it has metal flake, a little bit of flake in it for the sparkle, when the ladies put it on their eyes. So I think it brings out some detail, and it makes the metal parts actually look metal. And all I did was I didn't weather it really. I just highlighted some of the raised edges that were black. It was just way too pristine black underneath for me. And to me, a drag car should have some wear and tear on it, even though they're making mileage at a quarter mile at a time. It still needs some wear and tear on it. So that's what I did. And no rust, just strictly either some grays or silvers in places where there are raised edges, and on the bolt heads around the suspension, what have you. So, and also on the engine, the carburetors, I used some. I cut some screen out of aerator screen from the hardware store. I think you noticed at the beginning of my video, the shot of the engine bay, you can see the carbs have the filter screen on top to keep out dust and dirt and debris from getting down in the carburetor. So I tried to replicate that. I tried to run my fuel lines as best as I could compared to what he had, and so left the valve covers chrome. He had chrome valve covers, and you can look at 4 or 5 different Hemis, and each one looks a little different. Some of them are flat black, some of them are chrome, some of them are the brushed aluminum look. So, but his was chrome, so I left them that way. Everything in the interior pretty much stock. The only thing I did do that was a little bit different was I shaved the door handles, the window cranks off rather, of the front door panel and the back. I shaved off the armrest because those were gone on his car. Now, his car had the front armrest. The only thing I can think of that would be so you can get out from the inside rather than having to reach out and open the door from the outside. That's the only reason I can think to have it. And I'm going to, I meant to do it before I did the video, but I haven't done it. I think I may have touched on it. These cars did not have, as I said, the window cranks. They were taken off for, to shave down some of the weight. So I'm going to take some tape and, fold it over onto itself and get it small enough to represent a seat belt, because that's what they used to raise and lower the windows with, was a seat belt strap. So I got that from my pal Chris, Plastic 101. He's my go-to Mopar guy when I know a little, and I know more than a lot of people do, but I don't know near as much as he does. So he's kind of my go-to guy when it comes to Mopars. So that's what I have left to do in there, and I'll do that before I put the body on. I did my bare metal foil across the chrome strip inside the door panels. I also removed, because these cars were heater delete and radio delete, so I I went in and deleted the heater controls, shaved them down, and shaved the radio off, radio control, radio face, whatever. Shaved that off, and then cut 2 pieces of sheet styrene, painted it black, and glued it in place where the plates would be, where they were, the plates were installed, where the heater and the radio would be, to try to stay accurate and true to the original. The kit wanted you to put the tack on the steering column, so therefore I did not do it. His car had the tack on the dash, so I drilled a hole and put a little wire in there for the wire for the tack. Let me think if there's anything else I did. That's pretty much it. The roll bar is testers, ceramic coat aluminum, metallic aluminum. It's kind of a goldish brown color. I like it. It doesn't look like aluminum to me, but it's a different color for a metallic, to replace something that it could be aluminum. So I like to use that in places, sometimes on transmission, sometimes on frame parts or whatever. So, and the seats are not accurate. I read that the company that was the aftermarket company for the bucket seats, and I was not going to try to replace those. I don't even have any in my parts box that I want to use. I have some for other builds that are coming up. I don't want to snatch those, so I just stayed with these. So that's kind of where we're at. Like I said, I got to going pretty steady and pretty quick, and one thing led to another. Next thing you know, I was completed, almost ready to put it together with the body, and realized I hadn't made an update on the interior or the motor or anything else other than just the body painting. And while I'm on that subject, I wanted to tell you one more thing. I know you those of you who have watched the 2 tutorial videos, and after I finished spraying the blue, I was going to shoot the clear, and I actually got one coat. I did get one coat of wet look clear on it, but it was starting to get a little humid the day I shot it, and I'm constantly checking my humidity with when I'm doing any kind of painting or clear coating, and clear coat especially. You can kind of get away with it with paint. Clear coat, if it's humid, do not even think about putting clear on. You will be extremely disappointed. It's an understatement. And I've had future even sometimes not. It doesn't haze up or fog up like let's say testers, wet look will, or some of the other clears will. But I've noticed that sometimes if it's real humid, it won't shine like it normally does. So you might want to bear that in mind the next time you grab your future bottle. You think, well, I'll just put future on it since it's humid. Sometimes it doesn't perform as well as it could. But what I was alluding to is that every day I would come and look at it and check it, and I got to looking at the car, and it just didn't look. I just wasn't satisfied with the color. The billboards that I have, the decal billboards that I have that represent the lace work and the logo for his name, all of this work here is a lighter blue with some dark blue kind of blended in with it. And I don't have the decal boards with me right close. So, and these shots were taken in the sunlight, and it really doesn't represent. If you see some other shots of the car, this is a pretty dark blue. And when mine finished drying, it was just not enough contrast for me between this blue and the blue in the decal billboard. I wasn't happy with it, and I didn't want to start all over. I didn't want to strip it, put it in the pond, and all that kind of stuff. So I kind of dug down and went to the well one more time with the Aztec, and I got out. I got this out, the Testors Aztec Transparent Blue. It's a little darker than Tamiya clear blue and even Tester's clear blue. It's a little bit darker, has a little less transparency than those other two products do. So I said, well, I'll give that a try, and worst come to worst, and I can always, you know, put it in the pond. But I shot 2 full coats, 2 fairly wet coats of it, and I let it dry, and I like it. I'm satisfied with it now. It's more to what the car looked like as far as the blue in here. I'll let you have a look at it. So there's the finished product, and like I said, I masked off the white. The fender wells, those are going to be gloss black, and I might get y'all in the shot there. There we go. There we go. Turned out nice. I was pleased with the way it came out. The shine came out pretty good. It's got 2 coats of wet look clear on top of the 1 coat that I have, and then that I put on originally. And I was a little bit leery about shooting paint on top of wet look clear. I didn't know what it would do, if it would, you know, if it wanted to try to run or whatever. So, but it didn't, and turned out pretty much like I wanted it to turn out. And I'll probably shoot 1 more coat of either it, or I may just put 1 coat of Future on it to seal in the decals after I get those on. But all right, I've rambled on long enough. I'm already probably over into 20 minutes. So there we are. That's where we're at with the Hemi Dart. I hope to have it finished in the next 2 or 3 days or so. And I've got some neat builds coming up. Going to be doing shooting some enamel, which I haven't done in a long time. So I'm going to be doing that and see what happens. So at any rate, I'll close this one out. Until I talk to you again, take care of one another. May God bless. Thank you for all my subscribers for the kind words you have left me on the 2 paint tutorials. I appreciate it. You guys make it worth the while of coming to the table and making these videos. So appreciate you. Talk to you later. Remember, just build it.